Hello, I am the Ronin Bald, and this is NationStates. Welcome back to it. Welcome back to the rogue nation of Pawtucket. Our enormous, socially minded government juggles the demand. I keep reading this stuff like there's going to be something new here. There's not. It's still Pawtucket. I'm still in charge. And, that's for our embetterment. Don't ask everybody about the recent drop in their yearly income. It's fine. The economy isn't fragile. It's just working through some emotional issues. It had a rough childhood. Wounded veterans demand a helping hand. PBS Nightly News has run an interview with a former Pawtucketan Army officer who has resorted to using a hook as a replacement for the hand he lost in combat after the Department of Veterans Affairs failed to cover the cost of prosthetic surgery, prompting a deluge of complaints about the way Pawtucket takes care of its wounded veterans. Well, we need to fix this right now. I'm not going to have pirates walking around the city streets who, have been in foreign wars and all they have to do is reach out to shake your hand and slit your throat. You can't ask young Pawtucketans to go overseas to serve their country and then abandon them when they come home injured, insists recently returned double amputee Kristen Quimby. Wounded veterans like myself who have given their limbs for this nation deserve to live in handicap-accessible housing and to have the cost of our surgeries and therapy fully covered, even if it does cost an arm and a leg. Which is kind of appropriate, seeing as this guy lost his... What's the point of spending so much on expensive new tanks and planes if you're not going to take care of those of us who have given so much already? Hey, I am not arguing with that point. Tell you what, actually, I got an opportunity to visit South Korea. And while I was there, it took me several days, almost a week, to put it all together. Every time I approached an intersection or a crosswalk, there were these bumps in the sidewalk. And at first I was thinking, well, is it some kind of weather thing? Is it, why would there be these bumps in the sidewalk? The entire city of Seoul is blind handicap accessible. Like, even in buildings, you walk up to a stairwell and you can feel the bumps under your feet. That is amazing. That takes care of the symptoms, but not the cause, announces Professor Rex Volovitz, director of the PAF's highly secretive Special Projects Division. As long as we insist on using flesh and blood troops on the battlefield, these kind of injuries are going to continue to cause so much inefficiency. And human suffering too, I guess. I say it's time we unleashed Operation Codename Giant Killer Robots. Oh, come on now. I was being all serious here. I was going to take a fellow with a hook hand and just fix his ailments. And now you're saying, giant killer that's a hard decision. Do I help veterans or do I make giant killer robots? I already passed up on having a dinosaur fleet in our military. Giant killer robots. That's so cool. That's so cool. I gotta do the thing that my morality says. Damn my morality. The military is slashing spending on conventional arms and diverting it to spending on prosthetic arms. Hey, we weren't gonna win any wars anyway. Hospitals report fewer accidental deaths. Good. I would have thought that you were helping rather contributing to that. Military base converted to well-defended retirement village. Assault figures punched through historical lows. Let's just hope nobody decides to attack us. I'm looking at you, by the way, when I'm thinking about people who are going to attack us. I see you using the little crosshair feature coming after me. Don't sink my battleship. You just sank my battleship! Last month, the Pawtucketan Navy's flagship scandalously sank while docked in the La Habana harbor. Don't think that's how we name our... You're kind of forcing that on me. Slushfundia is how I name my cities. After analysis, experts concluded the primary cause was rust from poor maintenance. My God, everything costs money. Have you not noticed that the economy is curled up and crying to itself in a corner? Can't you see we need a hand in the Navy? Or maybe a hook? It's referencing the last... Complains Commander Alexei Bronte while directing a diving crew. How are we supposed to maintain our fleet if our routine maintenance budget is so paltry? Bigtopia has better warships, and you can't tell me they're a martial powerhouse. Grant me as much funding as I need so this doesn't ever happen again. Well, you're comparing us to Bigtopia and saying they're better. Am I supposed to assume that we're a martial powerhouse? We just converted half of the military's stuff into retirement villages, apparently. This only proves that battleships are obsolete, concludes Ella Hawke. Please give me another opportunity to make, mechanized soldiers. After watching the newest Star Trek movie, Pawtucket needs weapons to combat the problems of the 21st century. We need to start research and development of an interstellar fleet. We'll be left behind in the arms race against, Klingons? Live long and prosper, hon. Or wait, is it this one? Is it West Coast, East Side? What are the Klingons? I know the real cause of this catastrophe, claims Crazy Boris, your least reliable spy. Black Echo is obviously behind this attack. The signs of sabotage are everywhere. He takes a swig of vodka before continuing. The engine explosion was most likely caused by my old nemesis, Husa Maddox. Give me a free hand, and I'll purge the spies that have infiltrated every level of Kentucky. Thank you for appearing in almost all of my videos lately, Azure Pawn. You're really making a comeback, and I didn't even plan it. You're all ignoring the bigger problem, shouts a protester outside your office window, desperately trying to catch your attention. That sunken battleship is polluting the environment horribly. All kinds of chemicals are seeping from the wreckage, and you're doing nothing to clean it up. Instead of building yet another war machine, how about we clean up some of our old messes, starting with this shipwreck? I have been incredibly kind to the environment and not so much to the military. I need an answer here that involves making us stronger and not spending any money to do it. Well, Azure Pawn thinks there was an engine explosion that isn't mentioned at all. It just sank, apparently according to Rust. So you're a moron, no. Would love to fund the first USS Enterprise there, Ella Hawk, but don't think it's in the budget, so I think we just gotta, give a little bit more money to the military, which is just, we don't have money for these. Guys, can someone come into my office and hand me an issue that involves you just paying me? The Navy is chrome plating its battleships to prevent rust. Great. Box office cheers violent action heroes. Wage rises, put spring in step, money in pocket. Military parade draws bumper crowd. Modest tax increase helps build better Kentucky. Hey, everything is green and going up. Green doesn't necessarily mean good things happening. For example, government size. Wait, I'm the government. No, this is all good. Wow, 56 notices? Really? Someone mentioned me in an international debating area? Who's talking about me? You're mentioning me in the R&B post. Quit talking about me. Where's Azure Pawn? We need spies. I need to know what they're saying. Oh, I could just click on it? I could just click on it. The United Kingdom of Nazi Britannia wrote, "Do you know the rogue nation of Kentucky?" To which replied, "Chat, I don't know what that means. And that's not a T. They're speaking, this is code. Azure, get on it." Meanwhile, the old gray matter makes the medicine go down when newspaper The Slushfundia Herald referred to over 65s as society's growing burden and as unproductive leeches. There was outrage amongst the eldest generation. Looking to prove them wrong, a number of them have ganged together to create the Violet Hat Society, a gathering of retirees who are volunteering to contribute to the greater good. They've asked you how they can help serve Kentucky. All right, you showed up at just the right time. How are your pensions looking? I think we've got a lot to teach the younger generation, says Violet Hat founder Tina Ives, putting the finishing touches to an impressive watercolor landscape. Perhaps we could set up an official advice service to pass the wisdom of a life of experience on to the younger generation. If you can get them to use it, I'm for it. Personally, I've always wanted to see Brankaland, hints Society member Carmen Ponta, packing a beige floral print trolley suitcase. If the government could see its way to subsidizing travel for the elderly, we could spread across the world and sing the praises of our homeland. It'd be good for the Rogue Nation's international image and good for my tan. Win-win, right? I mean, how's your pension doing? If they really want to help, how about running some child care for my rugrats? Asks working single dad Nelson Whitlam, who's over 65 and a working dad. Good on you, buddy. Huh? You found somebody fertile. I'm not even sure whether to be offended or laugh at that. As he forks over 100 beers to a gum-chewing young lady that you presume must be his babysitter. He didn't mean people like me could get to work and maybe even engage in, social activities. He gives a quick guilty glance at the high heel wearing girl as she leaves. I knew you were a player. Aren't they lovely? Aren't they wonderful? Asks 30-year-old Margaret Delamy of the old Jensen Biddies, unaware how condescending this sounds. No, we don't need them to do anything. They've worked away and now they must retire and enjoy the sunshine. They can leave running the country to the young and healthy while they go play bingo or work their allotments or whatever it is that crusty old people like to do. Get these purple cap people, or whatever they call themselves, to form a working committee where they can debate with each other and keep out of everyone else's way. Then make a policy of ignoring whatever they come up with. The elderly are a very powerful community in American politics today because, they actually vote. most of us don't, for a variety of very legitimate reasons. This is a dictatorship, of course, so they don't have any say because nobody does. If they're healthy and capable, shouldn't they be in the workplace? Asked tax-paying 20-something Sheldon Lechar. Let's do away, that's not how you say that. Let's do away with the idea of pensions and retirement, then they can keep contributing economically instead of spending their time pottering about, interfering with everyone and asking their grandkids when they're going to settle down and stop traveling or whatever the hell they talk about. Now that answers my need for money right there. Just send them back into the workforce. But I do think that, me personally, after the first 24 years of life, you deserve to be able to retire. I know you can't. I like the idea of taking a life's worth of wisdom and actually creating a scenario where it could meaningfully be passed on to the new humans that have arrived on the planet and maybe save us a little bit of time figuring it all out from scratch and making all those mistakes again. The government officially wants you to slow down and speak more clearly. Citizens welcome return to basics. Engine room of economy ticking over nicely. Good. I somehow helped us with the money. Tourism industry braces for influx. People want to come and meet our aged elders with their wisdom and all the other things. Old technology, just as good, expert says. Okay, well, that might be the elderly. It's a laptop, Grandma, not a typewriter. Well, just unplug it and plug it back in. You don't even have the network cable hooked up. That's why you can't get your email. Oh, the industry of basket weaving has seen major improvements here. Okay, can we stop making fun of the elderly? Freaking old people with their opinions. Ugh, fake teeth. When am I gonna get some fake teeth around here? These things are rotten, falling out of my head. Freaking elderly, entitled with your wooden choppers. Don't let the sun go down on me. In an effort to address a budget shortfall, your Minister for Creative Solutions has proposed to cut expenditure, thank you, by switching off a number of streetlights throughout Kentucky. Hey? Naomi Sanchez, your Minister for Creative Solutions, explains their position. Let's face facts. In the current economic climate, we need to be sensible with our beers. Those streetlights don't run on thin air, And what with the cost of electricity soaring, what other choice do we have? We're not talking about a total blackout across Kentucky, just switching off the lighting along some of those less important roads and, well, perhaps the ones that don't contribute so much to society. Okay, so you're gonna just drop the poor and disheveled into darkness over the long night. Is that the idea? We're gonna take the place where, most crime happens and plunge it into darkness? You're smart. A protesting middle-aged overweight female resident sporting an unflattering dress and far too much makeup demands your attention. Do you expect a young, single, and needless to say attractive female like myself to walk the streets in the dark? Oh, how all the unsavory characters across Kentucky would just love that. Stop pandering to this madness and keep the streets lit, whatever the cost. I'm open to a middle ground solution, because some of these lights really don't need to be on. Presumably. Wild-eyed eccentric gentleman Patty Moore begs your attention whilst enthusiastically polishing his monocle. I love it when you use the word whilst. Are you trying to get in my pants? 'Cause it's working. This is fantastic news, but doesn't go far enough. Let's get rid of all those blasted monstrosities for good. The lights? The lamps? Do you realize how difficult it is to spot the rotation of Alderon's second moon through all that ghastly light pollution? Of course, there will be a few wimps who are scared of the dark, but that's what candles were invented for. We've got flashlights. What era are we living in here? And really, Alderon? Second moon? We can see that? I should have made starships. You're looking at this entirely the wrong way, dear leader, interjects Wally Ambrose from Helios One Energy Corp. If there's anything Kentucky needs, it's more light, not less. It's been scientifically proven that more light means a happier, healthier population, reduces crime, and there's no need to worry about the night shift anymore. You can work from dawn until, well, forever. Right, so just blare it up. You know what? These lights that I'm sitting under right now are the ones for the green screen behind. There's no green screen. Movie magic. They're incredibly blue lit. And I don't have, a fourth lamp in here overnight, so I end up sitting in this frickin' room with one of those blue light lamps, and it really screws me up. Sleep schedule-wise, so we're not doing that. I don't want to make anyone else suffer as I do. For YouTube, oh, it's so horrible. Donate to me on Patreon today. Yeah, it's a boring decision, but I gotta keep the lights on. The installation of street lights across remote goat tracks has left citizens bemused. That is not at all what I agreed to. I said leave the lights on in the dark parts of town. God, government a true role model, parents say. You're welcome. Wage rises put spring in step, money in pocket. How? We just put more money. They were trying to cut the budget. Community groups win government support. Engine room of economy ticking over nicely. Well, at least we're on the comeback. You know, I mean, where was the option to, like, convert us over to all LED lighting? Which I wouldn't have gone for because we can't afford it right now, but, you know, all the street lamps go down to, like, 6 watts per hour, kilowatt, minute, whatever, however that's expressed. Maestro, please! A delegation from the Pontucky Philharmonia has shown up in your office underlining their petition for the renovation of the nation's concert halls with a serenade. Oh, good. A show for the leader. Take it off. Take it off. The once venerable concert halls of Pontucky are in a sorry state, laments trombonist Richard Delatour, emptying the spit valve into your waste paper. Hey, that's fine. Some are dank, the stucco is crumbling in others, and it's raining through the backstage roof of another. In the name of culture, we must restore these halls to their former glory. It's only a pittance to the national budget, but to our cultural reputation, priceless. I don't know about that. Fragile economy, that's just the theme of this episode. These caterwauling miscreants don't deserve concert halls, insists Yoko Larson, a tone-deaf curmudgeon. Oh, you had to name her Yoko, didn't you? If they can't support their decadent frivolities, then why should we? The workers prop them up. Concert halls are imperialist and elitist and deserve to disappear. I say, leave the whole lot to their inevitable demise. Jesus, man. You don't like to go to the theater every now and again. The only reason to fund these musicians is if they're doing something worthwhile for their country, says Brigadier General Daisy Sanders. That's such a sweet, round name for a brigadier general. I've long said that Pontucky's armed forces would benefit greatly from a spick and span band in uniform. Oh, I love the U.S. military. I use a lot of their songs on the channel here because it's open source, it's free, you know, it's our music. Whatever they play, we own it. So take that, Universal Music Group. They would represent the splendor that embodies Pontucky, and they do it with pride. Of course, by extension, they would be a part of the active forces and required to serve in battle if necessary. Always good to up the recruitment numbers, right? Come on, I liked that option until you said I'm going to force them into military service. I'm kind of still leaning in that direction. Listen, okay? I'm a musician. I always wanted to kill a man. Don't look into my time in Vegas. Terrified timpanists are finding themselves on the front lines armed only with kettle drums. Yes! See, now they're just performing, okay? Elvis did it, USO service. It's a way of serving. If you get shot, you know, what are you gonna do? You know, like, there's a lot of people out there on the front lines with you. Some of them got hooks for hands. I brought it back! Almost made it into an episode there. And we are definitely suffering on the economic front. It wasn't long ago that the richest were making $34,000, the poorest $27,000 or something akin to that. I gotta get me some money. By which I mean some beers. I am the Ronin Paul. I'm gonna go, help the economy. I'm gonna go help the economy, if you know what I mean. Woo! Hail to Pontucky! Come on out.